So guys, the standard 992 Turbo S is an incredibly fast car. Too fast for the road, I've said on every occasion, but it's an epic car. Then Brabus last year made their own version of it, even faster, even more extreme looking, and you think, wow, is that really needed? And then they go and they make the Rocket R. Look at that. This is the new Brabus Rocket 900R. And it is, I think, the most stunning non-Porsche official design that I've ever seen for particularly the 992. It looks incredible, and they've changed so much to create what is a really, really emotional special edition, 1 of 25 Porsche, and I'm absolutely in love with it. So today we're going to check out every detail of this Rocket 900R, from what they've changed inside to the gorgeous details all around the outside of the car and in the inside. So let's check out the brand new Brabus Rocket 900R. So guys, today's episode of RBR has been kindly sponsored once again by returning sponsor HelloFresh. HelloFresh is an amazing service that can get you healthy and easy to cook meals delivered straight to you. A, the type of meals you want. B, really quick to cook. And C, meals that taste fantastic. If you check out the HelloFresh website, there's a variety of different types of meals you can get as well. So they've got their new rapid range where you can cook meals in under 20 minutes. You've got the barbecue range, the summer range, and then you can choose what type you want. So for example, I chose fish and veg, but you can choose things to suit what you want. Then you get this fantastic box come, and everything is packaged brilliantly. So today we're cooking this, which is a spicy Cajun prawn risotto, and the great thing is, the portion size that I gave it when I was ordering is exactly what I get. So I've got zero headache in terms of what do I need? Do I need to buy stuff? Do I need to stock stuff up at home? None of that. The menu card is great because the instructions are easy to follow, and it gives you every single step laid out in a really simple way. And what you're left with in the end is a fantastic looking dish, easy to order, easy to cook, and great tasting. So of course, guys, as an RBR viewer, you get a fantastic discount on what's already a really cheap service. Just use the code HFRACE, go to hellofresh.co.uk/HFRACE, and you will get 60% off your first box and 25% off the next 2 months, including free gifts. So that's hellofresh.co.uk/HFRACE, or use the code. Huge thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring today's episode. Now, let's head back to the car. So guys, when Brabus go about making a rocket, the idea is very simple. Let's take the best car that an OEM manufacturer can make and make it even more extreme. And they've done it with the GT63S, and they've done it with a whole host of other cars, and the results are always phenomenal. This one is absolutely no exception. We start with the base 911 Turbo S, which, as I said, is an amazing car by itself. And we strip off the entire body, leaving only the bonnet, the doors, and the roof. And what comes in instead is Brabus' Widestar kit, which is specific for their rockets. You can't get this on any other car, which is why they're 1 of 25. And the Widestar kit on this is fantastic. I will show you close up every single detail. We luckily have 2 cars as well, so you can see the classic Brabus black car, but then we have the grey car, so you can see some of the curves a bit easier as well. Bear in mind then, all of those body parts that I mentioned, they are all carbon fibre. There is a reason that this car is north of the 500,000 euros, other than the limited edition nature of the car. It's the use of carbon fibre that is so extensive on the body panels. In terms of width, we're talking 60 millimeters wider than the already massively wide Turbo S. So when you look at it dead on and dead on from the rear, it looks so intimidating, the black one looking like a Batmobile. In short, in terms of what they've changed, we've got all the active aero moved from both the front and the rear, and you're thinking that's a weird decision. In fact, what they've done is with the airflow is improved it despite having removed those elements. So we have like a pipe that goes through our intake here into the wheel arch, cooling the brakes, but then it sends air through our front arch into the massive wide open air vents, and all of the aero on this is active. Or real rather, all the vents are real, which is great, and it's such a bugbear for Porsche owners, right, when you have fake vents, so none of that going on here. So despite the fact that we don't have as much downforce because we haven't got the big fixed wing, the actual airflow, particularly in high speeds, is better. I'll show you some of the details later, close up of how this Kevlar all around the wheel arch, which is very impressive. The other stuff they've changed is, of course, the engine itself gets new turbos in there, which are larger. Of course, we've got new ECU, new gearbox software as well. There is another rocket arm making noise in the background there. So in terms of power, the car produces 900 brake horsepower, of course, as per the name, and 1,000 Newton meters of torque. That's insane. There's no 0 to 60 figure, but if they do a drive, which I really hope they do one day, we will test that out and see what it's like. It's got to be way under 3 seconds, right? Considering what the normal car does. That's impressive. It's probably, again, too fast for the road, but it's going to be quite emotional, as you'll see when you hear the Inconel valve control exhaust system that they've installed in this. Now, Brabus and KW Suspension now have a new cooperation where they've worked on a few of their newer cars together, including the 6x6, and the 900R is another one of those cars. It's an all-new suspension setup with steel flex brake hoses and a threaded height adjustment, and Brabus say it makes the car even more dynamic than it was as a standard Porsche. I really hope that they do a driving event so we can actually sample that and see what the car is like on a racetrack. I'm not sure which, I think I prefer the grey. I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you prefer the grey or the black? Either way, it's such a shame that this is such a limited car because you'll never ever see it, you know, anywhere other than maybe social media, if we're lucky. But yeah, wouldn't you love to have like a standard, like a more standard Brabus, maybe less power but with this body kit? I think that would be a massive seller. We'll have to try and convince them. Now guys, let's take a closer look around the car, look at some of the details around our grey one as well, and we'll head inside. I'll show you what it sounds like, because it sounds really good, and there's some really cool changes on the interior as well. So guys, we must just behold this 900 rocket. When you stand in front of it, it is absolutely stunning. Look at that thing. Just look at the body that Brabus have created. And I must say, this is a body designed for the 911 that is actually very unique. And it's difficult to do that because most 911 redesigns end up looking quite samey, whereas this one, it's got their own kind of unique flair to it, which is a very Brabus Widestar carbon focused type design. I mean, look at that. Look at the way that sharp front end cuts in. Yes, we've got all the active aero removed, but in terms of aero efficiency, especially at high speeds, the air, the way it's regulated, is even better thanks to all this functional bits here. This actually quite reminds me of the new ST and the GT3 RS, and it's all functional aero, unlike, you know, what we're used to with their G-Wagons having loads of fake vents. Nothing like that with the Rocket 900R. Everything here is actually genuinely working. Now, in terms of the whole body itself, the only things that remain, as I said, from the standard car are the bonnet and the doors and basically the roof. That is it. Everything else is unique to this Widestar Brabus kit. That's a lot of carbon fibre and it's a lot of unique bodywork, and it's why this car costs northward of €500,000, but there's only 25 of them being made, and I suspect by this point they're all going to be sold out because this is absolutely stunning. Let's look at some of the closer details of the carbon work here. So all the active aero is removed here from our front, but like I said, airflow is really efficient and it's so aggressive. That front end, the way that this lip protrudes from the front, I'm sure you guys can see just how exaggerated it is. It's really, really cool. The air intakes at the bottom are absolutely massive. There's some pipes hidden behind here which then direct air through into our wheel arch through here and then go straight through. They cool the brakes. You've got Kevlar all around our wheel arch here, which I'll give you a closer look at, and then that air then comes out from here and goes through the functional vent at the back, which is probably the coolest rear arch I've seen on a 911. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous and meticulously crafted in carbon fibre, and the way that it joins up here. You can see Brabus's attention to detail on their cars. I love it. Even this here, gorgeous. Connects right into the wing and then tapers off that line there. Do you see that? It's wonderful. Let me get close to this part as well. This looks great. See the carbon fibre. You know, that's a bit of RS, but then a bit of a GT3 RS look as well, but a very, again, Brabus kind of specific thing going on here. And it actually works. It works for a 911. It's not easy to make body styling for 911, I think, but I think that they've really, really done a good job with this one. Look at that side view. And just tell me that's not Carrera RS. It's wonderful. And as you get into the 3/4 then, it looks incredible. I love that 3/4 of the car. That looks stunning. Particularly with the wing. So the wing, unique. They had to kind of get this balance right between making a huge wing because you need the downforce, but not having something too aggressive or too protruding, which you might think is a weird thing for Brabus to say, but they liked this look. They didn't want a big wing like the Turbo had. So it hasn't got as much downforce as your standard Turbo S, but like we said, airflow is very good, and in terms of performance, it's an absolute nutcase. Getting close in here, see the typical Porsche light, and we've also got Brabus here at the bottom where you normally have Porsche, and they're doing this on all their cars, on their new Range Rover as well, which actually looks quite decent, but this suits this quite nicely. I'm not sure about their Porsche logo on the bonnet though. Yeah, I'm just not sure about that. It's not bad, maybe it'll grow on me, but if I was getting one, I'd probably replace that with the Porsche logo and leave the other Brabus stuff all on here, and you'd end up with something that looks, you know, very OEM plus. Carbon fibre detail on top of the wing is lovely as well, and it's really quite exaggerated, but not too much, just enough. It's just classy enough. The exhausts are absolutely stunning. Look at that. That's like something you see in a concept car. I really like the look of it. The rear diffuser really aggressive as well. All of this looks very OEM plus, doesn't it, the way that they've done it. There's this lovely detail here on the rear where there's this gap right in between where you see the rear wheel, and that's really cool. And of course it's all finished in carbon fibre. What I love about Brabus is their attention to detail when they do things. It is really OEM. So the rear looks really good. When you get down a little bit, you really get the exaggeration of that spoiler, but I like the fact that it's not got a big massive wing. It just looks like a normal 911, but really extreme. So these are the Brabus monoblock P wheels with the aero disc, carbon aero disc. Something they started with the G and now they're bringing it into their other cars. Really gorgeous. It's got that kind of, that design which is kind of Brabus monoblock now that you instantly recognise, but it's centre locking as well, which is very Porsche. So good, good. We like all of that. This is my favourite view of it, I think. Despite how nice the rear looks, the way you see that front aero and just all the curves on the side just looks fantastic. Now I want to show you the black car that we have here as well. You can't really see the cuts as much, and it's kind of a lot more Batmobile. It's not a bad thing. It's just not great when you want to kind of show, you know, from a journalistic point of view what they've changed, but then you do get to, you know, oh, that is just so nice. Look at that. And the great thing is it's all functional. I like the monoblock P wheels. I do like them, even though I'm not a massive fan of aero discs. They serve their purpose. The wing is gorgeous as well. Come to the rear here. Sorry for the noise in the background. That's stunning, isn't it? That's really nice. Here we've got the black logo instead of the red one, because they will do whatever you want them to do. Carbon inlaid in there as well. Love the exhausts. Black one is good, man. I like the black car. It's all about the front wing for me though. That's stunning. Absolutely mind-blowingly stunning that is. Really, really gorgeous. And then the other thing I love about this car, like I said, is that dead-on front width of the thing, which is so intimidating. But from this side, I think I really do prefer the grey one, but still absolutely stunning. So that is essentially your exterior. Looks absolutely stunning. I'd go as far as to say it's probably my favourite mod of a 992 that I've ever seen. And at that price range, of course it should be, but that's not always the case. Money doesn't equal style, but Brabus, I think they really knocked it out of the park on the design with this one. Right guys, we are inside now the Rocket 900R, and I thought it's best to give you like a first-person view of the very Brabus interior. It is baking in here, and I'm getting like motor show vibes with the amount of people vying to get content, particularly over the star of the show, which was this Brabus Signature Night. Interesting, a lot of unveils happening with the Range Rover, the 6x6, the SL Bauder Bushman Edition, and then this crazy thing, which I love. First time I've been in a Brabus Porsche. It's weird even saying it, but they've done a really nice job, and it's very Brabus. First thing I think of when I sit in here is Brabus as opposed to Porsche, with their signature kind of matte red detailing. Their type of leather that they like to use is much thicker leather with a thicker grain compared to most German manufacturers. So a quick look through of what they've changed, which is basically everything, every single part of this car has been massaged by Brabus in some way or another, in terms of leather, Alcantara, their typical, you know, as I showed you on the factory tour, the way that they do all of this by hand is really impressive, and that attention to detail now brought to the 992, particularly this really special one. They've got their typical hexagonal pattern leather here, red piping, thicker grain leather, even covering the Burmeister here in a nice satin red finish. Steering wheel, typical Porsche steering wheel, but we've got the Brabus very light embossing in here, which is nice. Nothing different in terms of the central screens, which is fine. Don't really want to mess with that. Lots of carbon fibre through the middle, and again that satin red, and it's nicely all kind of flowing together. I think that Brabus look. The matte's really nice. You can see here with their masterpiece logo, reserved for these rocket cars. The seats are also really nicely trimmed, again typically Brabus in their look, with the hexagonal patterns, your piping, the masterpiece logo, which is lovely, and Brabus on the headrest, and the same with the rear bench. So again, looks really nice, and if you have a quick peek at our rear bench as well, look at that. This is the attention to detail that they bring these cars. They leave literally no part untouched, which is great. So it's nice, it's very eventful in here. It looks like you've spent your money. It's totally different to your standard 911. I appreciate all of that. I think we should turn it on, because this exhaust also has a blow-off valve, which is quite interesting. So I'm going to turn it on for you now. Let's see what it's like. All right guys, I've got the key. We're going to give it a start up. Let's see what the Rocket 900R sounds like. That sounds great. That's fantastic. That's way more exciting than your standard 992 turbo. And look at that in the back. Another typical Brabus feature. I love that. That's fantastic. Very eventful. Oh, I want to drive this thing. This is cool. So guys, that was your Brabus Rocket 900. Absolutely stunning. Probably one of the best Porsche, you know, massaging of a Porsche design with the horsepower addition and the technical bits that they've changed in there is stunning. I hope I get to drive it one day. It's a very rare car at only 25 pieces made. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of RBR. A few other things coming from Brabus' signature night as well. If you have, please do like and subscribe to RBR. I'll see you guys next time.